Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Entrepreneur Interview Series, presented by the Undergraduate Entrepreneurship Association at Carnegie Mellon University. I am Nix Pawlowski, and today I'm pleased to be joined digitally by Nadia Susanto and Michael Lim of Bivi. Bivi is an educational platform where top university students are brought to teach younger K-12 students invaluable skills outside of a normal classroom environment. Nadia, Michael, it's a pleasure to speak to you today. Could you please introduce yourselves?
Hi everyone, it's great to be here. My name is Nadia Susanto and I am a rising junior at Carnegie Mellon University studying business analytics with a double major in human-computer interaction. I am the founder and CEO of Bivi, and also at Carnegie Mellon, I am the president of 180 Degrees Consulting and also a scholar athlete on the women's varsity golf team.
Hey, my name is Michael Lim, and I'm currently a rising junior at the City University of Hong Kong. I'm currently studying computer science, and I spent a semester in Carnegie Mellon University last spring, which is where I actually met Nadia. I'm currently the Chief Technology Officer of Bivi, and I make sure that everything tech-related on our platform goes well.
Very cool. Let's start with the basics. Can you please explain collectively sort of what Bivi does and what its mission is?
Yeah, so our mission is to be the platform where talented and passionate college students can come together with ambitious younger students. Specifically, we're an educational platform where elite university students can mentor and teach younger students invaluable skills not taught in a normal classroom. This idea actually came from a pivot really just 3 weeks ago. Before, the goal was a platform where current college students would be able to provide college counseling services, test prep, essay, or resume review services to students looking to come to the US for colleges. However, due to COVID-19, we began realizing that many international students, who are our main target audience, are not really looking to come to the States at this time. So that's when we pivoted to this current idea.
And so when you're talking about the history of Bivi, where does this name come from, and what's sort of the inspiration behind the meaning of that name?
Yeah, I to be honest, there really wasn't much inspiration behind the name. I think I just want to find different words that would mean bringing people together of that sort. And so I stumbled upon the word Bivi in the Latin dictionary, which means crossroads or a place where ways meet. Then, of course, we started going to GoDaddy to see if a domain was available for this name and if there were any cool logo designs that we could go with it. And once those criteria were met, we knew that Bivi was the name to go with.
And can you also talk a little about the significance of the logo design you chose?
Yeah, so my good family friend was actually the designer for our logo, and I am really proud of how our logo really conveys what Bivi is about. So the B resembles an owl, a bird that is known to symbolize wisdom, and it has a graduation cap and is holding a book. That is what we want our students to be, full of knowledge or passions that will ultimately help them in their search and success in higher education. The IVI part is a bit more subtle, where if you think about it, it resembles two people reading a book. And at Bivi, we offer that one-on-one personalized learning between a current college student and a younger student. And we want to also foster the genuine connection between the two. We also chose the color blue for our logo, as psychologically it is known to represent trust and reliability. So we want to achieve this in our brand, as parents and students can entrust us with giving them reliable and accurate knowledge.
All right. If you don't mind, what phase of development is Bivi in currently? Are you currently operating?
Yeah, actually, we are still in our very early stages, and we just launched our website 2 weeks ago with working registration and sign up. But even in these past 2 weeks, we have been making great progress. And we have the goal of testing out our platform fully by the end of the next 2 weeks, which is the last week of our webinar as well. So we hope to get it up and running by then.
You do have that webinar series currently, and you've produced some great content out of there. Can you talk about how that fits into Bivi's mission?
Yeah, I guess I can take this. So from our customer discovery, parents and students were interested in this idea that we had, but I could tell some were still kind of reluctant to have a college student become the teacher. So we believe that this webinar series would give them the perfect glimpse into what Bivi strives to be. And from this, we could really tell if parents and students were actually invested in signing up. And so we just actually had our first webinar this past Friday where a fellow CMU student taught the basics of animation. And it was an interactive session where she was drawing a walk cycle, and the students could join in also and create that. And so our goal was to only have 20 people join us, but we actually had an astounding 50 people join our webinar. It truly exceeded our expectations, and we received many praises afterwards, plus some parents already asking us to start the learning with a college student. And so next week with our second webinar, we know that the attendance will be more than 50 as our signups keep getting bigger. And some parents even told us specifically that they're already spreading the word to their friends. And we are really excited to see this idea resonate with our target audience.
Okay. And one more point that I would like to add is students might not be able to be enticed with the idea of this college student teaching you, or parents might not buy into the idea. But when we try to educate them and see the power of our platform, then they will know what it truly is and what it truly can be. And education is far more important than just pitching your idea. And I guess that's why we had the webinar as well.
Now, you've both mentioned the parents' involvement in this entire process so far. How do you envision really the parents becoming involved in this relationship between a high schooler and a college student, and how do you foster that to make that a healthy relationship?
I think with parents, what we determine is that they're the ones making the payments, right? And they're usually the ones kind of pushing their kids to try new avenues, to teach them new skills and so forth. And so the parents are really big in the decision making process. And so we believe that if we can influence them, that this will be great for their kids, they will sign up their kids. And we hope that the kids themselves will realize the true value of our platform, where it's not just a regular, I have to go meet with this tutor who's an adult and like I have no personal connection with them. We want the students to get excited about these lessons, where if they're learning a new passion like animation, for example, that they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this session and I can't wait to go meet my tutor in the next hour. We just want to foster that genuine interaction and not really make it a teacher versus student type of deal, but we want to make it more of a team where they both come together to really to make the idea more successful and to really foster their growth.
So you're really focusing on that peer-to-peer connection, but also emphasizing the difference in experience and education that can come with the big jump between high school and college?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's so crucial. I think there's not really any platforms right now that utilize the untapped potential of current college students. And we believe that us as current college students have so much potential, and we all want to give back to our community, and we all want to mentor younger students. And so this is the perfect opportunity to do so.
And on the topic of that big jump between high school and college, do you expect many of your high school users to become college mentors afterward?
So yeah, we really hope that our current younger students see the benefit of having a college student as kind of their mentor and their teacher. And so we really hope that that encourages them to kind of follow the aspect of giving back to the younger students. And so we really believe that a lot of students right now have like a intrinsic motivation to help those who are younger and those who are in need. And so if this platform really helps them find a passion and a skill set that they love right now, I think that they'll be willing to give that experience also to younger students.
Yeah, and it's not something that's mandatory for sure, but I guess it's just nice when you're able to give back to what made you arrive at the college, for example. And yeah, I guess it's very important for them to be able to realize that sort of value and that sort of process of giving back, just like what we did with this platform, basically. Yeah.
And so if you're really focusing on this relationship between a high school and a college student, how can a student younger than a high schooler or someone older than a college student become involved in this platform?
And so for our mentors and teachers, we are limiting it to current college students. And so we really haven't thought that much about alumni, but I think especially now with the college admissions process changing rapidly, we want our value to be in those then that it's current and it's fresh, up to date information about the college university process, especially since it is rapidly changing. But we're not just targeting high schoolers also. I think we can get younger students involved quicker. There's already 10-year-olds who are asking us to continue learning about animation. And so we were really excited to hear that because they love to doodle and they love drawing. And so if we can get these kids started early on and finding that newfound passion, that'll just make it easier for them in the future, like in high school, to really master that skill and hopefully utilizing that in that college admissions process.
And I guess this is where the role of the parent comes into play, because those younger students might not be able to discover our platform, for instance, because I don't think at 10 years old they'll be looking for college consulting on Google, let's say. But the parents are the ones that might be able to push the students or the kids to go into our platform, let's say. So yeah, if we're coming back to your previous question, that will be one of the answers as well.
Do you think that maybe in the future to get younger students involved, you might want to expand your services and sort of like a SEP program where maybe a middle schooler can be mentored by a high schooler, but simultaneously be mentoring an elementary student or some combinations of those?
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely avenues that we can think about in the future. But because some parents are already thinking about like signing up their 10-year-old child, we thought of a semi-private kind of session where because they might be too young for personalized one-on-one tutoring, if a 10-year-old student wants to bring in or a friend also who wants to join and learn about animation, they can be able to do that with these semi-private lessons where it'd be one college student and 3 younger students.
And then on the other end of the spectrum, do you think maybe Bivi's services could expand into the professional environment? People at different tiers of perhaps professional roles could be tutoring each other?
For sure, that's an avenue that we would like to explore as well. Because yeah, the whole concept of tutoring is basically you can have people that are more senior in their role tutor the younger students. So yeah, that's also an avenue we can look at.
Yeah, especially with jobs and like maybe interviewing, like those certain aspects of professional development definitely could be used for maybe like an alumni mentoring a college student who wants to go into a specific industry or a specific company. So those are definitely avenues that we can think about later on also.
And so when you're creating connections between high schoolers and college students, what's the matching process for those if you're going for one-on-one interactions?
Okay, so the matching process right now is actually still manual because we're still in our early stages. But basically, we ask both sides to fill out a short profile asking for their hobbies, interests, and for the college students, we'll ask for their CVs as well. And from here, we try our best to find the right fit. So, for example, if a student likes to play basketball and wants to learn finance, then we try to find a college student who is able to teach finance and who likes to play basketball as well. But later on, of course, we will not be able to manually match every single pair of students and college students. So we hope to automate the process with some matching algorithm and include such algorithm that will look at the different responses, look at the different data points from the questionnaire and match the students and the college students together.
So are you currently trying to specifically match a college student and a high schooler with a personal interest as well as their academic interest so that they can tutor them some technical skills, but also find some common ground personally?
Yeah, definitely that's the goal. And I think that will make the learning easier also. Like if you already have common ground with a tutor, for example, it'd be easy to kind of understand the person instantly and to maybe even teach around that common ground. Maybe like with basketball, if you're teaching fundamental math, like they could go around like using basketball terms per se.
You also talked specifically about matching elite college students with high schoolers. How do you define an elite college student, and how's the selection process for that?
So I think right now, because we are still early, we want representation. Our goal is to have representation from the top 30 schools in the United States and around the globe. And so what we mean by elite is really students who are passionate about a subject and are experts in it. Because like I said before, some parents were reluctant in like having a college student become their tutor. And so we want to find college students who are experts, and so that they realize the benefit of having these college students as their tutor.
And speaking about representation, that is why we are also looking for tutors outside of the United States, because we want to have representatives from the whole world as well. And we don't want it to be focused on just one specific country, because I think it will be beneficial to have the global aspect of it.
And if you're being selective about college students and you're trying to find representation from a lot of different schools, do you expect an oversupply in high schoolers or college students, or neither?
I think we're trying to keep a good balance between the two. I think later, as we increase our marketing, a lot of college students hopefully will come to our platform to apply to become a mentor or a teacher because they realize the benefits of what our platform brings. And so I think if we keep a good balance between the two, I don't think we'll have a problem so far.
So really, what sort of interactions are you looking for between high schoolers and college students in general?
So between the younger students and the college students, we truly want to foster those genuine interactions in which they don't just see each other as a student and a teacher, but really a team that is working together to master a skill set or curating a newfound passion. We want the younger student to feel like they can easily text the college student with any questions aside from what they are learning, and ultimately help them with any other problems that they encounter later on in their search for higher education.
Yeah, that's why we are also including a chat feature in the platform, because we don't want it to just be a 1 hour a week thing where you just go on a Zoom call or go on any platform's video call and you just meet that person, and after that 1 hour it's done. No, we want it to be more than that. And eventually we want to have genuine connections to our platform as well.
And beyond this chat feature and connecting these students, what really can you do as Bivi to foster those meaningful connections?
As I said before, also, we believe that the interactions can be meaningful with choosing the right university students as the teachers and mentors. I think first and foremost, we have to look at the passion that the student brings for mentorship and giving back to those who are younger. And we truly believe that their passion can exceed anything else. So if the student is not passionate about the subject they are teaching or about working with the students, then there is no benefit whatsoever. And so once we find a patient, passionate, and experienced tutor slash mentor, we truly believe that the younger students will begin to trust their mentor and open up more. And that really is our entire goal, as we believe that there is a very different connection that can happen between a student and a tutor who are only a few years of age difference versus that of the same student and an adult tutor.
Do you think that really, if you take the right high schooler and the right college student and you connect them to each other, a meaningful relationship will occur?
We truly believe that. I think there's so many college students nowadays where they're really doing this on the daily, when maybe like students from their high school are contacting them like, hey, I'm applying to Carnegie Mellon, can you tell me more about it? Like I've had this experience even now where people from my high school are reaching out to me because they got into Carnegie Mellon, and they're asking like, hey, how do I register for classes? Which professor should I look out for? And I'm happy to help them. And I think a lot of other college students are extremely happy to help out those also, who are younger than them. And so I think that it'll be an easy relationship to foster.
And then after you've created that relationship and perhaps those students graduate and even beyond there, how do you think that relationship will evolve, and will those be maintained?
We actually anticipate that the relationship won't stop, especially if the younger student ends up in the same college as the mentor or the teacher. Especially with international students, a lot of them study abroad without knowing anyone, and it's scary. For instance, when I went to Hong Kong, I didn't really know anyone except for maybe one or two people that come from the same high school as me, and they were my point of contact really. And I eventually I built up connections with them because I went to the same college as them. And we're trying to change the old idea of going abroad is scary, so that at least the students on our platform can have someone they trust as a contact once they get into their preferred college or university, let's say.
So you think a lot of the mechanics of that relationship really depend on that high school student attending that same college as the college student?
So I think for us, so it might not be the same college, but we also have a feature where even if you're not having one-on-one tutoring, they will still be able to reach out to any student that they want just to ask them a few questions. And so let's say a student is interested in Carnegie Mellon, but their tutor is from MIT, for example. They can still reach out to me or you to learn more about Carnegie Mellon, even though we aren't directly teaching them a subject.
So to what extent do you think that other simple services like social networking platforms or regular tutoring platforms can achieve the same service as your platform?
For us, I guess a social networking platform will be able to connect people connect different people who might not know each other, and a tutoring platform will be able to provide that sort of education that maybe they're looking for, especially for the hard skills. But we especially curate those global talents since we currently have college students registering from all over the world, and they're already in the pipeline for interviews. Because it might you don't really message people that you don't know on social media that often, don't you? And it might be daunting to randomly just message someone from, let's say, the university that you want to go to without really knowing them or without having any sort of connection to them. So we seek to provide that sort of environment where they can meet in the social network sense, but also in the tutoring sense as well.
What policies do you have in place to handle the unexpected and unlikely event of a negative interaction on your platform?
Yeah, so definitely, I think we're still kind of building on the idea, but I think we want to implement a feedback system or kind of like a rating system also, just to kind of keep the students accountable. But for now, in the early stages, I believe that we do not have to worry about that, because most of the college students that will be our early tutors and teachers are the ones that I personally know and the ones I personally trust as well. And so we're also going to get some feedback from them on how we can kind of regulate the conversation between the tutor and the student and build off of that for the future.
So in the future, after your platform is developed, do you think it would be helpful or beneficial in any way for you to reach out to perhaps large school districts or elite universities in order to create systems where they receive perhaps big discounts for requiring or providing these services so that students can be mentored or to mentor other students?
Yeah, and that is honestly our entire goal, where we can provide this service to anyone and not just the privileged ones. And especially now with our target market being Southeast Asia, there is a large deficit in the educational resources given to the middle and lower class, which limits their ability to even think about higher education. And so, yes, definitely we want to start partnering with different high schools or maybe even work directly with the government so we can be able to provide our resources and services to everyone.
Nice. And you mentioned your dedication to making studying abroad look more appealing to students, perhaps. Are you really focusing on markets outside of the United States? Because many of those elite universities do happen to be in the United States.
Yeah, I think we want the students to feel comfortable wherever they want to go. But I think especially with for the circumstances with COVID-19 and everything else that's happening with the United States, a lot of students are thinking about kind of staying local and more, say, going to Australia and going to other parts of Asia. And so we want to encourage them also to go to those top global programs and not just those in the States.
And finally, what advice do you have for current or potential CMU entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs at the City University of Hong Kong?
For me, advice I can give right now, specifically for those at CMU, is to definitely take advantage of the resources that CMU is offering. The Sports Center has been tremendous with really fostering the entrepreneurship ecosystem and encouraging students to take a chance on the crazy idea that they have. If it wasn't for the McGinnis Venture competition that I partaked in a couple months ago, I probably would not be continuing with Bivi. But because of that competition, it really gave me the confidence in pursuing this idea. And for any other student, another key aspect is really finding the right team or partner. And so, as Michael mentioned, I met him at CMU because he was here for an exchange program from the University of Hong Kong. And we both realized that we had the same passion for transforming the educational landscape in Indonesia and Southeast Asia.
Yeah, and a bit of advice from me, I guess, is to just keep on networking and keep on meeting new people because you'll never know what they have to, and you'll never know what they can bring to the table. I mean, when I came to Carnegie Mellon, I didn't expect to meet Nadia and to be working on this startup, honestly. And another point as well is to believe in your idea, really, because a lot of startups they just take the idea and maybe they don't believe in it as much and they don't work as hard in it. Because I guess when you believe in your idea and you know it's gonna work, then you're gonna put your heart and soul into it. That's it for me.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much for this interview. This has been an absolute pleasure speaking to you guys about this new platform.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much, Nix, for providing us the platform to convey our idea as well.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Entrepreneur Interview Series, presented by the Undergraduate Entrepreneurship Association at Carnegie Mellon University. That was Nadia Susanto and Michael Lim of Bivi. You can find out more about Bivi by visiting bvsuccess.com. That's www.bivisuccess.com. And for the entire CMU UEA, I am Nix Pawlowski, wishing you good luck on all your future ventures. Thank you.